be a public figure, too controversial that might confuse the crowds. Too much of myself, and to be artistic wasn't allowed, it was too rare. To find a person who was so in love with individuality that she would corrupt everyone she chose to inspire with her words and her actions and her imperfections. She would lead the sheep away from the flock. She would make them all artists by choice and not by force. She would cause chaos in the cranium of her listeners, have them all having headaches from their brains finally purring. She would get their gray matter to finally start seeing color and make them wake up and read. As if that's not what it takes to lead. You follow instruction in action, but not in mind. States of stagnancy cause inaction. And it's an ignorant mistake that we make to assume that the people who write the books that we consume are not conditioning us in any way. When your boss gives you a hard day and you come home to turn on your TV set to de-stress because you feel like a mess, you don't consider that the person behind the scripts of the TV series you're so engrossed in watching is watching people absorbed in his words like it is the bread of life. You didn't pay this much attention to the principal when he spoke. You didn't rush like your favorite show was on when you walked into work this morning. And you think no one directed you towards the remote, the bookshelf, the playlist, or your iPad. Don't be mad that the best kind of mind control is the kind that makes you think you're in control. Because when you're not aware of something, you can't fight it. Your leaders speak when they give you the instructions, but the authors write it. And so the world writes them off as lacking potential, as if art doesn't rule the world better than a graduated piece of stationery. Diploma distinguishing nothing. Qualification on paper is never characteristic of competence for instructive authority. This holds to no correlation to grades. Power shouldn't be assumed to belong to the people who stand on stages. It's not what comes from status. Leadership is what comes from your head and your heart. And as for performers, oh, performers. A valedictorian speech doesn't rhyme like this. A parliamentarian speech doesn't shine like this. And the politically correct script of a people pleaser can't afford to be as boundlessly free as this. And your perception of a leader is probably too idealist. A certificate that states that your rank is higher than the other people on your class list. Yes, you may have a rank that says you hold the reins, but where are you taking the people? The people they say have leadership potential are the ones closest to their ideas of perfect, vocal instructors and person organizers, but who pays attention to the quiet writers? Eyes quickly scan over the readers, not knowing they're following the path of the leaders who are taking them on a journey to find themselves. They who hold the pen hold the people that they influence, and I wonder if they realize that to naturally inspire is what it really means to lead by example. For instance, I heard a leader was supposed to be either the president, a pastor, or a prefect, or anything along those lines, to play their designated roles as plausible as possible, and to be hopelessly dramatic, or anything along those lines learned by rote. But though I have this memorized, my authority never had a script.